differentiate when we talk about improvement of ISO 9000 and CAISI?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last word.
¿Qué quiso decir con CAISI? CAISI.
CAISI. I really apologize. I don't understand the term, and I can't answer this because I don't understand what you're trying to communicate. Oh, Kaizen, I see. I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now I do understand now. This just-in-time principle of Kaizen is just one element of manufacturing control and manufacturing efficiency. It is not truly related to ISO 9000. It is a way of streamlining and improving your operation, and it is very compatible with ISO 9000 principles, but for ISO 9000 certification, you really need to focus on your manufacturing controls and your system to assure that within your manufacturing functions that you are controlling and verifying the quality produced. The Kaizen system is a very good, efficient system to help you schedule and help you move material through your operation. ISO 9000 is more focused on how you control the quality in these various operations.
Now we're going to Mexico, and this is a question coming from Saltillo, Mexico. Good morning. I would like to know what recommendations you can give us for the adoption of ISO 9000 system to educational systems, and what institutions have done that or are trying to do that now. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, my primary experience has been with manufacturing businesses, and this is where the movement and most of the activity is today. The service sector is just beginning to recognize the value of ISO 9000. In my own personal experience, I have not yet seen any educational institutions adopt the ISO 9000 principles in their areas. As I mentioned earlier, though, many of these principles do apply to an educational institution. Any of you viewers that may be familiar with any educational institutions that are using ISO 9000, I would be very interested. In my own experience now, I have not seen it being used yet, but I do predict that it will be used.
And we have one last call coming from the Federal Commission of Electricity in Baja California, Mexico, Mexicali. The question is going back to the Pacific Rim. Basically, we need to know what has been the response of the Union in Japan of science according as far as the ISO 9000 standards, or if the Japanese union has given some other guidelines that we could add to these requirements.
Again, let me share with you my experience. My experience has been initially when the standards first came out in 1987, there was some resistance in Japan because the initial attitude in Japan was that they were very, very far above the ISO standards in most of their developed industries. This attitude has changed, and my recent experiences are that the Japanese businesses and industries and the Union of Japanese Scientists and Engineers have now adopted the ISO standards, and they view this as a foundation, again, as minimum requirements, and Japanese companies, like all forward-thinking companies, really are looking at this as minimum requirements and really wanting to go far beyond ISO in their quality systems. But these are recognized minimum quality system requirements in Japan.
Muchas gracias. Y continuamos ahora con
Thank
el
you.
módulo
And now
2,
we are going to
en el
start
cual el
module
señor
number
Zalatan nos
2,
explicará
in which
cómo
Mr. Zalatan
implementar
will
el
explain to
programa
us how
de
to
ISO
implement
9000 y de los beneficios que
an
esto
ISO
proporcionará
9000 program
a
and
la
the benefits that such a program will bring to your organization.
Those were some very interesting questions. I look forward to more after this segment. In this part of our program, I will discuss ISO 9000 implementation strategy and the benefits of implementation. In addition to leading the effort to achieve certification for 7 divisions in my own company, I have had the opportunity to serve as a consultant to many companies implementing ISO 9000. In my experience, I have found that there is a logical approach to successful implementation. In my experience, the following 5 guiding principles are present in all successful ISO implementations: management commitment, high program visibility, widespread employee involvement, creation of a user-friendly quality manual, and a management review process. First and most important, management commitment is absolutely essential. There is no question that any cross-functional effort of this magnitude requires management's total support. I know of no company successfully implementing ISO 9000 without the full involvement and dedication of upper management to the implementation effort. I have been called in to help companies that are struggling with their ISO 9000 implementation efforts. Typically, they have put much energy into the effort but have shown little success. Inevitably, I have found that there is not a true commitment from upper management in these companies, and without this commitment, I have found there is no chance for success. Upper management must understand and totally support the objectives of ISO 9000. And upper management must establish the attainment of ISO 9000 certification as a top business priority. The second principle, critical to ISO implementation success, is giving ISO 9000 high visibility throughout the company. The ISO program's importance must be understood by each and every individual in the company. Everyone should understand the company's ISO goals and what his or her individual role is in support of these goals. An important part of high program visibility is a program for ongoing ISO 9000 education. There is little doubt that knowledge and understanding are essential ingredients in a successful ISO 9000 program. Everyone in the company should be educated to have a general awareness and appreciation of ISO 9000, what it is, why it is being pursued, and how it is going to be accomplished. Each functional area of the company should be educated in depth as to the specific requirements of ISO 9000 in their area of responsibility. Intensive, ongoing ISO 9000 education is the tool to assure everyone's role and their contribution to success are fully understood. ISO requires a commitment to education and training company-wide. Some companies I have worked with have made the mistake of assigning the full responsibility for ISO implementation exclusively within the quality department. I have found that companies using this approach will not be successful. As ISO requires, the third key implementation principle that we're going to be talking about is widespread employee involvement. Employee involvement starts with assigning the responsibility for ISO implementation to a key member of the management team. The ISO program manager should be selected with the following characteristics in mind: strong presentation skills that will enable him or her to clearly communicate the vision of the program, the ability to organize, educate, and coach. The program manager must be able to command credibility and trust throughout the organization. He or she must have the strength to influence all organizational levels and must have the ability to generate enthusiasm and support, and must possess the energy to overcome the "this will never work here" attitude. In my experience, selecting an ISO program manager with these leadership characteristics is very, very important to implementation success. The ISO program manager is responsible for driving the implementation effort and must have the skill to achieve widespread employee involvement. In my own experience as an ISO program manager, I have found that the most effective way to achieve this involvement is by establishing functional teams throughout the business. The functional teams are organized and guided by the ISO program manager. The charter of these teams is to take ownership to develop and implement the required ISO 9000 quality system requirements in their areas of responsibility. The number of functional teams will vary by the size and complexity of the business. Each functional team needs to be headed up by team leaders I like to call ISO champions. The ISO champions and their functional teams, working under the guidance and coaching of the ISO program manager, are the key to implementation success. As I mentioned, the functional team's major responsibility is to create and implement ISO 9000 documentation, which leads to our fourth key implementation principle, the creation of a user-friendly quality manual. One of the mainstays of the ISO 9000 process is the act of documenting the quality system in a way that is meaningful to all employees and reflects what is really going on in the company. ISO 9000 requires a quality manual be established that covers all applicable elements of the standard and contains all the relevant procedures which have a direct impact on the quality process. Overall, a quality manual must encompass the general high-level quality policy and quality objectives of the company, as well as the company's specific operating procedures. The specific operating procedures contain information such as who is responsible, what is done, and how it is accomplished and controlled. Bottom line, a quality manual puts in writing how you want to operate the business. The ISO program manager, working with the ISO champions and their functional teams, needs to develop a quality manual that is user-friendly, simple and understandable, flexible to the needs of the business, cost-effective and non-bureaucratic, and disciplined. Being disciplined means you execute according to your quality manual, or you change your quality manual. One of the fundamental keys of ISO 9000 success is that you must do what you say you do. When I'm working with companies, I try to inspire them to create a quality manual that they will be proud to share with their customers and their employees. I try to inspire them to create a quality manual that is useful and relevant to the business, so that it will be referenced on a continual basis. Not to create a quality manual, as is typical with many quality manuals, that is going to sit on the shelf gathering dust. In developing a quality manual, I have found it is a good idea to start by flowcharting the process as you are doing it now. Then to perform a gap analysis against the standard to determine areas that need to be strengthened. The flowcharting process helps the team understand and document process inputs, value-added operations, and process outputs. The flowcharts also help the team understand how the process is organized and controlled and identify any weak links in the process. As the teams are going through the process of developing their sections of the quality manual, they need to continually question, are we satisfied with the controls we have in place to assure customer satisfaction of both internal and external customers? The teams also need to continually search for opportunities to streamline the process. In this computer age, many companies are creating their quality manuals online. This is clearly acceptable under the ISO 9000 guidelines. And in many cases, it is the preferred way to demonstrate adequate document control procedures. There are several distinct advantages to creating an online quality manual. They include ensuring controlled access and security, facilitating reviews and changes, allowing for immediate removal of outdated information, and ensuring all of the quality manual information is communicated accurately and is complete. Creating a quality manual through team efforts results in teams that develop a powerful understanding of how their function operates. They discover opportunities to streamline their processes, and most importantly, they feel ownership for their operating procedures. In my experience, procedures developed by employee teams are the most effective and provide lasting benefit. Some companies make the mistake of having outsiders write their procedures. These companies never achieve the sense of ownership that comes when the procedures are written and implemented by the employees within the company. The fifth implementation principle is the management review process. ISO 9000 requires management reviews of the quality system be conducted by upper management. A key part of the management review process is upper management reviews of the results of internal audits. Internal audits are required by ISO 9000 and serve many very, very important purposes. First, they are the company's primary tool to assure each function's documented quality procedures meet the intent of the ISO standard. Internal audits also serve as a means to compare the documented quality procedures to what is actually being done by the respective groups in the organization. The key questions internal audits are trying to answer are we following our documented procedures? Are we actually doing what we say we do? And are our documented procedures effective? Upper management demonstrates its commitment to the quality objectives of ISO 9000 by its active participation in the management review process. Constant vigilance of the results of the internal audits by upper management will ensure an ongoing pattern of success and progress. Areas where the system is not being followed or where the system is not effective must be analyzed and appropriate corrective actions initiated. In addition to the results of internal quality system audits and corrective action status, management reviews are also an excellent opportunity to assess progress on a company's overall quality objectives and to analyze trends in the company's critical quality indicators, such as customer feedback and quality cost. The management reviews are upper management means to assess, is our overall quality system achieving the desired results, and if not, why not? Management reviews are one of the key value-added activities of ISO 9000 implementation, and when taken seriously, can have a considerable influence on improved management understanding and involvement in the quality system. Let's review the 5 critical implementation principles again. Management commitment, high program visibility, employee involvement, creation of a user-friendly quality manual, and the management review process. In addition to these principles, I would like to share with you some critical success factors I have found important to implementation success. The first critical success factor is that companies must recognize that implementing ISO 9000 requires a culture change. For a quality program to be successful, all employees need to feel ownership for the quality of everything they do. When implementing ISO 9000, this feeling of ownership does not only apply to the product or service they produce, but it must also apply to the quality system used to produce the product or service. In many companies, prior to introducing ISO 9000, it is not a common practice for employees to follow documented procedures. In actuality, in many companies, it is common practice for employees to work around formal documented procedures to get the job done. In fact, it is not unusual for employees to be rewarded for their ability to get around the formal system to accomplish a task. In many companies, prior to ISO 9000 implementation, procedure manuals are outdated and are not generally used, and performance according to documented procedures is not required. In my own company, prior to pursuing ISO 9000, we had an informal quality system that was not well defined. We achieved our results by human initiative and the technical competence of our workforce. The drive to get ISO 9000 certification provided a much-needed catalyst to examine, describe, and deploy a quality system in a consistent and cohesive manner throughout the business. It is critical to a successful ISO 9000 implementation that employees feel a sense of ownership and pride for their documented operating procedures. If the procedures aren't effective, the employees need to be empowered to improve them, not ignore them and work around them. Another ISO 9000 critical success factor is the ISO champion's ability to generate enthusiasm, achieve widespread participation, develop and implement cost-effective approaches to implementation, continually train, and continually audit. A third ISO 9000 critical success factor involves the implementation effort. The implementation effort must be a team effort with management participation. Teams will develop a powerful understanding of how their function works. They will discover opportunities to streamline their function, and teams will feel ownership for their operating practices. Let's examine some of the benefits of ISO certification that I've seen firsthand in my experience at my company and at the other companies I have assisted. The benefits realized from a certification effort can be summarized as follows. First, it demonstrates to your customers that you have an internationally recognized quality system in place. As I mentioned, customers requiring ISO 9000 are the driving force of most company certification efforts. Putting the ISO 9000 system in place demonstrates to your customers that you listen and respond to their needs and expectations. Companies achieving certification are very proud of their accomplishment, and many use it in their advertisements, marketing brochures, and other communications with their customers. ISO implementation leads to heightened assurance on the part of customers that a supplier is serious about quality and is actively pursuing quality improvement. A second benefit is that a documented quality system is better understood, more consistent, and establishes a platform for continuous improvement. As I have mentioned, the drive to implement ISO 9000 provides a much-needed catalyst to examine, describe, and deploy a formal quality system in a consistent manner throughout a business. It is very difficult, if not impossible, to improve a quality system that is not documented, not consistent, and not understood. With ISO 9000, the documented quality system now establishes a baseline to continuously monitor and improve the system. Another benefit is that the drive for implementation identifies system weak links and eliminates waste. Going through the ISO 9000 implementation process requires a company to assess its operating procedures against the ISO 9000 requirements. Typically, companies implementing ISO 9000 find that by going through this process, they discover basic gaps and weak links in their existing system. In my own experience, I have discovered many gaps and deficiencies in the companies I have worked with that, when corrected, resulted in significant savings. ISO 9000 emphasis on internal audits is a way to ensure effective, ongoing self-examination. Since the basis for certification is to plan what you do and then verify that you perform according to plan, the internal audits continuously identify system weaknesses and opportunities for improvement. This is a positive force to keep the system healthy and an excellent method for self-analysis. Another ISO 9000 benefit is that the process improves basic business disciplines and processes. The documented procedures become a company's primary training and audit tools. The documented system provides a baseline for continuously improving and monitoring and improving the quality system through the ongoing management review, internal audit, and corrective action system. The process also encourages cross-functional teaming and empowerment. It is a great idea to have the same employees who develop and implement the documented procedures be charged with the responsibility for maintaining and improving the system. This provides continuity and real ownership of the system by the employees. The process increases management involvement in quality and heighten quality awareness. First of all, I have found it interesting that in some of the companies I have worked with, getting the system documented actually has helped upper management better understand how their business really works. The effort to develop and deploy an ISO 9000 quality system results in increased quality focus throughout the company. Because the ISO 9000 guidelines affect nearly every area of the company, from how a customer's order is received through all aspects of fulfilling that request and meeting the expectations of the customer, quality begins to be perceived as more than just a manufacturing issue. ISO 9000 helps provide a focus on doing the right things properly, and it provides a positive motivation and a rallying point for the entire organization to assure that effective action is taken on behalf of quality. The ISO 9000 requirement to establish effective training and frequent system monitoring results in continued awareness and ongoing opportunities to keep quality efforts in focus. I have mentioned that ISO 9000 describes minimum quality system requirements and provides a very good foundation. We must remember the ISO 9000 guidelines are not sufficient in themselves to guarantee acceptable quality results. You must understand that once ISO 9000 certification is achieved, you are only at the beginning of the continuous improvement journey. This is not a one-shot program. Certification only means that the basic foundation of a quality system is in place. The ISO 9000 guidelines and certification requirements provide an excellent foundation for continuous improvement. Successful companies utilizing ISO 9000